she left after she was approved. So thank you. We're not going to
have her make any
You
comments.
can have as many meetings as you would like.
Why are you getting so combative?
I'm not combative at all. I'm trying to get a vote. We're in the middle of a vote, and you're about
I was just
about 30 items behind where we are actually.
Because you did not customarily bring her forward to address council and the public.
I don't know what you're speaking about customary. I respect your right to meet and talk to her. You've already voted for the lady.
We did vote
anyway,
for her.
thank you for your interest.
We just need to vote on 26.
We need a vote. On what number?
26.
26. All in favor say yes. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next.
Item 30 is an ordinance. Just need a vote.
All in favor say, Councilman Alcorn.
Okay, go composting. We're going to try again, man. We didn't get this grant last year, so we're going to try to get it this year. We know what we do. Solid Waste knows what was wrong with the grant application. We're resubmitting it. It's a good grant. We're the 4th largest city in the country. Nobody wants to hear about me talking composting all day long again, but this is going to save us from the landfill. Y'all are going to look back one day and say, "I remember when we didn't used to compost. I can't believe we didn't compost." It's food waste is 25% of our municipal landfill. It creates methane gases. We're going to all compost one day, so this is a step in the right direction. Vote yes. And we need a letter of support, most importantly. Some of you have already submitted them. If you haven't, please get I think Jordan sent something out, get a letter of support in. We're going to get this grant this year.
Councilman Castillo.
Thank you, Mayor. I completely agree with Councilmember Alcorn. I was proud to submit a letter of support for this grant, particularly because the compost that this generates is going to help combat urban heat zones. It's going to help create green corridors. And we are dealing with extreme heat year after year for longer durations of time, longer portions of the day. We need to take these small steps to start combating it now so that we can mitigate it when it gets even more hot for longer periods of time in years to come. And so I'm proud to support it. Hope we were able to see this through. Thank you.
Councilman Kamen.
Thank you. Was not going to let this item pass up without congratulating Councilmember Alcorn and sticking to it, as well as the Solid Waste Department. Composting, as the council member mentioned, will help save our landfills. It will help save taxpayer dollars in the long run. It takes about 10 to 15 years to secure a new landfill in Texas. We are already inching up to that end of life for many of our, I think we have 3 landfills in total, but huge congratulations to you and the department for continuing to champion this. I've started composting because of the work that you have been doing. I do want to do a personal plug as well, though. As we look at diverting additional waste, multifamily recycling continues to be a need that so many of our residents are asking for, and we're continuing to work with the Solid Waste Department on that, Mayor, but doing everything we can to extend the life expectancy of our landfills right now is critical, and doing it the right way, and this is one of those. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I want to congratulate.
We don't have the money.
Well, if you look at the history of it, it was denied last year, and now you went back to work, and we're reapplying with some modifications. So shows what you can do if you work hard and don't give up.
Yeah.
All in favor say yes. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 32 is an ordinance. Just need a vote.
All in favor say yes. Those opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Oh, we have a tag from
Tagged by Councilman Thomas.
Item 33 is an ordinance. Just need a vote.
No.
All in favor say yes. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Flickinger votes no.
Show Councilman Flickinger voting no.
Item 34 is an ordinance. Just need a vote.
All in favor say yes.
No.
Show Councilman Flickinger voting no. All others say yea or nay.
Item 34, item 35 is an ordinance, just need a vote.
All in favor say yes, those
No.
opposed nay. All in favor say yes, those opposed nay. Motion passes.
With Flickinger voting no.
So Councilman Flickinger, no.
Item 37 is an ordinance, just need a vote.
All in favor say yes, those opposed nay. Motion passes.
No? Okay. He did not vote no on that.
Item 50 is a motion, just need a vote.
All in favor say yes, those opposed nay. Motion passes.
Item 51 is an ordinance, just need a vote.
All in favor,
Roy Thomas?
Councilmember Thomas.
Thank you. I tagged this item last week initially because it was out of the general fund and wasn't included in the CBA for paramedics training. But then I just got curious. I noticed Wharton Junior College versus HCC. And when I looked at the National Registry, HCC has a 95% passing rate. Wharton College has a 65% passing rate for paramedics. And then the general fund dollars with the out-of-district fees, that was a concern to me. I know that there's a demand. We need paramedics. We have to fast-track these courses. I get that, and I'm clear. Is the administration looking at Wharton and HCC and Cy-Fair, Lone Star, the ones that have these programs, or this is just going to be one commitment to Wharton?
It's a supply issue and capacity.
I share your concerns and ask the same question. Why Wharton? With Lone Star and Houston Community College, San Jack, we can go on and on. The fire department said that they're desperate for positions, and they don't have time that you and I could work on to get these other local junior colleges geared up. So, you raise serious concerns, and it's always the rest of the story.
I know, that's why I assume that there's
Who might be from Wharton County that's in the fire department? I don't know.
a whole bunch of folks.
Yeah, they probably live down there.
They live in Wharton.
But the bottom line is,
They don't live in Houston.
it's hard to dispute the need, and if they have the availability to train them, I think it's something we ought to keep in mind going forward. And darn near insist that we use Houston Community College, Lone Star, Jack, and you name locals.
I mean, right. I mean, this is a general fund item. That's the first tag. It's 5A with 2 one-year options. And HCC, we are producing a workforce. HCC, to me, is the anchor to do that. So, I mean, are you willing to consider moving forward the additional expanding that, because we do have a need for paramedic training?
We have the need, and we have contracts. Historically, it's been HCC. But when HCC says they can't accommodate your needs, we can't wait, although it ought to be our goal, and encourage them, talk to their board. It was just explained to me, and when we put it on the agenda, was there's a shortage, there's a demand, and HCC and Lone Star, those are really fine, as you well know, systems. And I can't believe that it's one of the things we need to fix, the breakdown in collaboration and communication. Why do you wait till you're so desperate for the personnel that then you approach a community college? There needs to be a plan, collaboration, communication, and it won't happen in the future. But it's hard to turn down someone that has the capacity and they're ready to perform. And then you and I and the council and the fire department, fire chief. Sure. How about the fire chief ought to have this responsibility? And we ought to encourage, and we will, that it's done locally, efficiently, cost-effectively, and not send our cadets.
And we're paying out-of-state, out-of-district fees.
I understand, but it's just the need there, and we're so short.
I get it. I don't have a...
You want to talk this morning about a shortage in the fire department. We need 25 ambulances, but...
No, I get that, and that's not what I'm inquiring at the table. It's just that HCC has a 95% pass rate. Wharton has a 65% in 2023.
Different standards.
So in terms of capacity, I mean, when we're talking about 95%, we have a critical need. We need people to get through the class, test, and pass to get on the street. I'm concerned that I would like more to the story than they don't have the capacity. They're not ready.
I share your concern, and in the future, we'll make certain that Houston Community College is the priority. But if they say they can't do it, you got to believe them. Now, obviously, and you and I don't run the fire department, and this was brought to us, obviously, by the previous administration. So let's just make it our priority to make certain that we're prepared for the request and get HCC and Lone Star. I know they,
Right.
well, they haven't accepted them. That's all, that's the facts. So I
Let
got
you
to,
make it on this one, all right.
yes, ma'am.
I'm going to let you make it, Mr. Mayor. All
I'm
right.
just, no, it's responding to the demand for cadets and training. It ought to also be part of our discussion that if we put them through our cadet classes, that they stay with Houston Fire. The 31 that I spoke to in April, if you talk to them individually, they were already, now that was before the new benefits package. And in fact, let me tell you another interesting thing I heard this morning to verify. 100 retired firefighters are coming back on the system. We're 590 short. We're picking up 100 of those that are coming back to work because of the morale, benefit package, and they feel like somebody appreciates them.
And that 10% raise, too.
It certainly makes us
I think that
makes us
10% in
competitive.
that fiscal 25
I'm proud of it.
is a good motivation to
It's
come on back.
It's competitive with Fort Worth and the other systems.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Come
we're
on
getting
back
off
too.
track.
Councilmember Kamen.
Councilman Kamen.
Thank you. Mayor, in light of what the council member raised, are we committing to doing a review following this class to see what the pass rates were and whether this additional funding was
We can do
worth
as much
that?
due diligence as time allows going forward. I think you're going to see a very experienced fire chief tackle this, 24 years in the department, probably more familiar with this than anyone we've talked to, but the department brought this critical need. HCC and Lone Star said they could not handle the requirements, so they went, if you want to assume they're
No,
dealing in
and
good
I
faith, they go to Wharton. But why don't we all agree we'll fix this problem? But I'm not sure we got time to do it today.
I understand, and I'm very familiar with, again, the capacity issues. We even tried to work to expand capacity with commercial driver's license training so that we could hire more individuals for solid waste and public work. So I'm very familiar with that. We're just also, as a council, allocating, close to $5 million additional dollars here. So I'm trying to make sure that we are going to get that after action report.
I agree. All in favor? Say yes. Those opposed, nay.
Pollard, no. Pollard, no.
Pollard,
Put me
no.
on, I don't know.
Put me on no.
Pollard, noes. All motion passes. Next.
Yeah, no.
No? Thomas is a no as well.
Thomas, no.
Item 52 is an ordinance. Just need a vote.
Jackson for a motion.
Councilor Jackson.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to refer this item back to the administration. I support affordable housing. I'm willing and ready to, always willing and ready to support projects that's going to bring affordable housing in the district. However, I still have some concerns about this project that I'm sure that we can take care of within the next month or so. I do want to get a commitment, a solid commitment from the developer about the 300 homes that are going to be have a price point of $180,000. There's nothing in writing that's going to happen. Anything can change once you start building. The prices can go up. And from talking to the housing department, I know that there's the down payment assistance dollars are scarce. So making sure that we do have money for down payment assistance, as well as the community have not been involved. Fred Woods was here yesterday. That was his first time hearing about it. So I want to make sure that the adjacent communities know about what's happening over in this area. And then the boundaries. You know, we learned that they're planning to expand the MUD. Once it's voted on, I want to make sure that we know where this MUD is going to take place. So I still have those concerns. I know that we can, get them addressed with some time. And again, I'm willing to support, but I want to make sure that my community is protected and that they're getting what this developer committed to. Thank you.
Very good. Mayor Pro Tem Castig's Tatum.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councilmember Jackson, for those concerns. I know yesterday we had the developer and some conversations about this, and I will tell you that everywhere we go around the country, people are talking about affordable housing. After hearing your concerns yesterday and hearing the concerns and what the developer had to say, I did have an opportunity to try to find out about more in-city MUDs. Currently, the city of Houston has 26 in-city MUDs. And based on our conversation that we had in the housing department and looking for tools to help developers to actually put affordable homes on the ground, I was looking for, what is the real opposition? Very sensitive to your concerns, and I think that the developer should take the time to educate the community about this affordability. When you talked about potential gentrification, of course, our ears perk up. But when you are talking about this level of affordability, in addition with down payment assistance and offsetting the taxes with the MUD, when you think about this location, I looked at the map. It's near, I think it's Smiley High School, so the infusion of the tax dollars for that community. And quite frankly, I think the number thrown out yesterday was over 1,000 additional affordable homes. And the city of Houston's affordability is $310,000 at 120 AMI, $225 for 80% AMI. To put 1,000 affordable homes inside the city of Houston, I think that we need to make sure that the developer is educating the community on how they become buyers of these homes so that they can remain in their communities at this level of affordability. Because what good does it do for us to fight for down payment assistance if people don't have houses to buy? Because right now, if you look for a home in the city of Houston under $200,000, you may find one, and it's probably somewhere you don't want to live, in a house that you don't want to live in. And yesterday, we heard the developer commit to over 300 homes under $200,000. And from our housing committee meeting, there's the down payment assistance, and people have already been approved for this down payment assistance and cannot find a home. So I think that what we're doing is we're working on both sides of the aisle to fix our housing affordability in the city, and this may be a great example of how we are utilizing our down payment assistance and also holding developers accountable for providing the level of housing stock that we need in our city. And the MUD is a tool for us to use to keep these homes affordable. I will support you on referring this back because I did have one other question about how community members can become board members on those MUD districts. So that is another opportunity for residents in these communities to play a part in the decision making and also keep the affordability, keep an eye on the affordability. So I join you in the wanting to refer it back, and I would ask the developers to maybe join you in a community meeting to educate the community about this. It's complex, it's complicated, but we do have 26 in-city MUDs in the city. As a matter of fact, one near District K is City Park. Is an in-city MUD. And when you think about those 4,000 affordable homes that were built right in the heart of the city, near the medical center, near 288, it gives working class Houstonians the opportunity to work and live where it's not cumbersome for them to travel to and from work. But when I looked at the project, I'm for the project. And I think to put 1,000 homes on the ground that are under $325,000 is a win for the city, but I definitely am sensitive to the community members. I think that there is a distrust in specifically African American and Hispanic communities when you start talking about potential gentrification. So we need to be vigilant on making sure this affordability remains a real level of affordability. So I will join you in wanting to refer this back, have some additional conversations with the developers, but based on the information about using the tool for the in-city MUD and the down payment assistance and keeping these homes affordable, I see this as a win for our housing stock in the city of Houston.
Thank you. Councilman Ramirez?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councilmember Jackson. She has enunciated some concerns that are valid, I think, and need to be considered, and so I support her motion to refer back. I will say this, however, from what the developer stated yesterday in public comment, this sounds like a very exciting project, and I hope as we have this discussion about it, we remain realistic about what it needs to look like at the end, because if it's not attractive to the developer, it won't get done. And so this is an opportunity for Houstonians to have 300 more single-family units priced under $200,000, if what he says is correct. We have precious few parts of the city that are not yet developed. This is one area that can be developed where we can put affordable housing. And so we need to work with them, I think, to make sure this is a good deal for the city and for residents and for the developer as well. I hope we do that in the next few weeks.
Very good. Councilmember Davis.
Thank you, Mayor. I also want to join with Councilman Jackson on this. On yesterday, it was a deep interest. I'm for the fact that we need to retain as many housing, affordable housing within a lot of our communities due to gentrification and the fact that we have someone that wants to, build houses. But I had an interest. That's why I asked the size of the houses and the reality as to what the square footage of these houses are going to be. First of all, when you're a homeowner, it's a different approach than just living in apartments and that type of thing. And we need more houses within our community. So I along with others, I want to join with Councilmember Jackson, and we need to look very closely at this matter.
Very good. Councilmember Pollard.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm always going to defer to the district council member, but what I want us to understand from a private sector standpoint, time is money. These developers who are land developers trying to put forth a product of 1,000 homes, single-family homes. We always talking about apartments and rehabs. These are single-family homes. And some of the concerns that I'm hearing, although somewhat valid, I think we need to take a step forward and understand what are we really looking into. If the question is possible gentrification, the developer said there was 1,100 square foot homes. These aren't mansions that they're building. These are at 180,000 to 300,000. You're not going to create gentrification based on those price points. You also have to look at these are new builds with new appliances, with new infrastructure. Like, if we're going to be serious about affordable housing and trying to increase our own capacity, then we have to be a very business-friendly community, a very business-friendly city. And when private developers are coming forward without a program that we're offering them, this isn't a city program. These are private developers who found a creative way to build affordable housing. We have to find ways in which to champion that, because there aren't many private developers that are out there willing to build at these price points or be creative enough to find a way to build at these price points. So for a community that I know is thirsty for new development, thirsty for attention, thirsty for people to invest in their community because they are well deserved of having that, I think this project goes a long ways towards showing our commitment as a city to all communities, that everyone should have a good place to call home, that is new, that is modern. And then with the mud, the creation of the mud, they're responsible for all the infrastructure. They're responsible for the utilities. That's not something that the city then has to take the burden. So understand your concerns, but from a private sector, private developer standpoint, what I don't want is to discourage them from coming to the table with creative ways in which to build single-family homes by, putting a pause on these projects. So I hope this goes through, because I do think it will be a benefit to your district and to the city as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Thomas.
Thank you, Mayor. And on this item, I'm going to get back in the queue and amend the motion with the approval of the district member. But let me just say this is encouraging news around down payment assistance. On Monday, when we had the Housing Committee, the department shared that now with the improved relationship with the GLO, they're in conversations on redirecting some of those dollars to infuse down payment assistance that'll be more substantial than our $50,000, right? So that we have done $30,000, we've increased to $50,000, but as the Mayor Pro Tem said, $30,000, $50,000 won't move the needle. So I think you will see at the same time happening, this development is happening. The housing department is working in advance to make sure that Houstonians have substantial investment so that they can buy down that 288, which can keep them in that neighborhood. So that is happening in addition to the TERS allocation in our annual CDBG, which often is subscribed fully. So that's encouraging. So just know that that is happening on your behalf. I'm going to go ahead and get back in the queue to amend the motion.
Thank you. Councilmember Plummer.
Thank you, Mayor. And I obviously am going to defer to Councilmember Jackson on this as well. But I do think that we also need to explain to the community that we've spent so much money on the infrastructure side, drainage, sewer, road facilities. This is now money that the city of Houston doesn't have to put in a CIP or a SWAT project or, find other resources for that. So I think we just have to explain to the community how this benefits them and how the monies that we would normally spend on those projects, could go somewhere else into areas of need. So I'm looking forward to supporting this project.
Very good. Councilman Kamen.
Thank you, Mayor, and I appreciate the discussion on this. I do want to say just one quick anecdote as it relates to infrastructure investment. In District C, we have had inner-city MUDs where the city of Houston has said you should be doing X, Y, Z to make sure that your water pressure, if you're building a tall townhome that's 3 or 4 stories high, has this type of equipment to sustain water pressure. You should be doing this to manage your water quality. You should be doing all of these things that are up to what the city standard would be. But again, because of the way they're building, they're not incorporating that. And then we're having to come in when that area, the water systems have failed, and they're asking the city to pony up to pay to fix it. So as we have these conversations, again, I think the focus on affordable housing is absolutely key. But when we're adding another layer and saying, this is great because it's taking the hands off of the city, that's not always what ends up happening. That's not to reflect the current developer that's before us, and that's not to say that they don't have the best of intentions and that this isn't a good program, but there's a lot more layers to this than just, this sounds like a great deal. And it takes all of us digging into that and looking into that history and that background. Additionally, when we're building into the floodplain, that is another critical concern that we should always be looking at. How much of a property is being removed out of the floodplain and what mitigation is going in. So again, I'm just speaking from a District C perspective, and we'll be supporting the council member, but wanted to add that to the conversation, that there are challenges.
Very good. Councilor Vice Mayor Pro Tem Peck.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'm not against this. I think it's a good way to fund some of these projects to get affordable housing. But something that's happened in District A with probably the most recent in-city MUD that we've passed, this was in 2017, was 900 homes are being built in an in-city mud. And those were affordable homes in the $200,000 to $400,000 range. Now we're starting to see those homes getting resold on the market. And so they're going up now for sometimes double what the person paid for, which is fine. But they're no longer affordable because when you add that mud tax to it, what was, a $300,000 home that's now selling for $640,000, when you add that mud tax, you might as well just go buy a $750,000 home because that tax base is so high. So just it's something that we need to work on as a body. If we're passing these MUDs at the state level and the city level, we need to find ways to reduce that mud tax so that they're not taxing people far more than what they actually need to do those services, because a lot of people don't understand, when they're looking at, this home is really cheap. When you add up all, the city taxes, county, school, and then that mud tax, which is actually sometimes a higher rate than what the city of Houston is even charging, it's adding thousands and thousands of dollars to what was a really affordable home. So it's something that I think we need to look at with MUDs going forward.
And you didn't mention the homeowner association. Yes. Add that fee on top. Anyway, well done.
Ramirez.
Councilman Ramirez.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. So the point I wanted to make was that it seems like this item came through planning and not housing. We had an extensive housing committee meeting on Monday, and this was not on the agenda. I think if it had gone through housing or had roped in housing more extensively, we might have more information on it, and some of these issues might have been addressed. So I'll note that for the future. Thank you.
Very good. Councilmember Thomas.
Thank you. I defer to Councilmember Jackson. Councilmember Thomas, and thank you, my colleagues, for your comments. I really appreciate it. I do support affordable housing again, but there are a lot of questions around establishing the MUD in this particular area, and this making sure that the community is involved and they know exactly what's going on. And so I still want to refer it back to the administration. And,
Withdraw your motion.
I want to withdraw my motion.
Thomas seconds.
Okay. And then I'm going to pass it to you.
Right.
Thank you
So much. I move to delay item 52 for 2 weeks to be placed on the September 11th agenda.
Members, you've heard the motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor say yes. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Delayed for 2 weeks.
Perfect.
All right.
That sounds like a committee hearing this morning. It's the way it should be. Next.
And this completes the items on the agenda.
Wonderful. Members, Councilor Jackson, you're first. You want a little time to pop off?
Okay. Just encourage folks to sign up for District B's newsletter. Contact our office, 832-393-3009. Email districtb@houstontx.gov. Mayor, I do want to talk with you as I'm talking. I just thought about it. The old Homestead Kmart Shopping Center. I did have a conversation with our interim director, Randy, and he assured me, well, he didn't assure me. He said that it needs to come down. It needs to be demolished. There was a demolition order on that Homestead Shopping Center back in 2011, but it was never demolished. And so since the storm, the recent storm that we have, it's like literally falling apart. So I just think as a city, it's our responsibility to tear this building down because it's dangerous. It's attracting illegal dumping, and it's getting worse over. And I encourage you to go and just drive by there and look.
I saw it when I was out northeast on debris pickup. Our friend Mr. Woods made certain that I saw it. It's been there a long time.
Yeah. Going on 3 decades. And so if we're talking about destroying dangerous buildings.
It was on the demolished plan in 2011?
In 2011, the developer, he was actually working on a deal with the airport, and then the previous council member tagged it, and they came up with an agreement that he would tear this building down. But it never happened. And so I'm encouraging you, please, let's demolish it.
We'll get after it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Huffman.
Thank you, Mayor. District G, we had a very successful resident resource fair last weekend. We had 43 different tables, representatives from different city departments, state and federal government. It was bigger and better than it was last year, and we're just going to kind of keep building on that. So thank you to everybody who participated. On another note, there was a tragedy that happened in District G over the weekend. A 7-year-old girl drowned at a pool where there were 2 lifeguards present, lots of adults present. And I just want to, my heart goes out to the family, but also just to remind people that usually drowning really is a silent thing, and people can be around and be in the area and still not necessarily notice. So as summer winds down, we just need to keep that in mind and be careful.
Well said. Next, Councilor Ramirez.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to note that we've had a lot of complaints about noise throughout the city in many neighborhoods, and I've taken a look at our noise ordinance, and I don't think it's an effective tool for enforcement and addressing the issues throughout the city, not just along Washington Avenue and Riverside Terrace and many other places. And so I want to look at revising that ordinance to make it a more effective tool for law enforcement so that we can get some help to our residents. So I'll be visiting with the administration about that in the near future, Mayor.
I share your concerns. Certainly at my house last Friday night at 11 o'clock, it was pretty regularly violated, and they were about to get cited and assisted in relocation, and they lowered it. But quite frankly, the standard's pretty low. You can be making a lot of noise and still be in compliance with the ordinance. So obviously we need to revisit that. But I guess I brought up the protesters. It's amazing to me that the Democratic Party can restrain the protesters from the convention site, but a residential area can't. But anyway, another discussion for another day. Councilman Thomas.
I don't have nothing to say. Count yourself lucky, Mr. Mayor. No, I don't have nothing to say today. I'm good. I pass. Look, that smile on your face. You don't know what to do.
I could give you something. You can talk about the ball game Saturday night.
Oh, what?
Prairie View, TSU.
Right, you want to come to Labor Day Classic? You want to come hang?
I'm doing my best, but
come hang.
You need to remind us.
Come hang. All right.
Yeah, very good.
Come hang with us.
I don't want to speak for you, but if I was you, I would have mentioned it. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Cassidy Tatum.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to the Labor Day Classic. I do want to thank my colleagues for your support of the NLC nomination today for Transportation Infrastructure Committee Chair for NLC. I will be applying for that again. So thank you for the support of the resolution. And then also want to thank the council members for attending the Helping Hands program press conference that we had with Kroger and Union Pacific. I hope that you've been able to get those gift cards out to the residents in your communities. We've had some really good meetings with constituents who are very grateful for that little boost and hand up after Hurricane Beryl. Thursday, we have a Meet the Chief event scheduled in District K. We will have a community meeting with the new police chief. It will be held at 6:30 p.m. at the Fountain Life Center. We've already had over 250 residents to RSVP. Hope that we have more. We're looking forward to a robust discussion with the new chief and introducing him to the residents in our community. Also want to give a big thank you to FEMA and the SBA. Yesterday at our PIP meeting, they were there explaining why residents have been denied on their applications and helping them to go back in with those appeals and really helping them to be prepared for the next event. And giving them the information that they need for disaster recovery. And to remind residents that we do have 8 disaster recovery centers in Harris County. If they were unable to come to the PIP meeting, there are 8 other disaster recovery centers that they can go to if they have questions or need help with their applications or their appeals in the city of Houston. and then want to just wish everyone a happy Labor Day. Be safe and be kind to each other.
Thank you, ma'am. Vice Mayor Pro Tem Peck.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to thank you for your assistance in having Randy talk to our constituents yesterday at public session. He was great and is working on a plan. They asked him when they should follow up with him, and they said, is 2 weeks okay? And he said, no, we're going to have a plan in place by Friday. So they were very excited about that. So thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Randy. We are still getting reports following the hurricane of traffic signs that are either missing or turned the wrong way. So I just wanted to encourage everyone to please continue to call that into 311. I know Public Works has been doing a great job prioritizing that, but we're still getting those calls to my office. So please make sure you let us know if you see something like that. And then finally, I wanted to thank the Department of Neighborhoods for their quick follow-up with an issue we're having at a house on Hollister. It looks like it was a house that started to go through maybe a rebuild process and then kind of paused, and there were all kinds of issues going on at that house, but they were able to get on that very quickly, and wanted to thank them for that work. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Martinez.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I just want to encourage folks to tune in September 2nd and 3rd for the premiere of the Chicano Squad documentary. It's on A&E. It's at 8 p.m. Again, we celebrated 45 years this past week, and it's a great story, and it'll really bring some education as to what those individuals went through, but then just really what Houston has been going through over the last 45 years when it comes to law enforcement and HPD and community relations as well. I was happy to join New Hope Housing at a hard hat tour at our senior housing development that will be opening up on Ennis October 25th. We'll continue to remind residents that application process opens up 4 months prior to. So next summer, we're looking to make sure that folks are informed and ready to move into a new senior housing development that's great in the East Downtown area. And then lastly, Mayor, I shared a map with you. I really want to see solid waste come in and do a mayor's report, specifically post-barrel. What you'll see is all the yellow areas, which has not been picked up. The first pass has not been picked up. August 31st is the deadline for the first pass. I don't think it's going to happen. So last night I was at Civic Club meetings where tree debris has not been picked up, and just telling them just point blank, being transparent and honest, it's not going to happen. So we need to make sure that we continue to share some realistic expectations to community members. The packet behind you is essentially 77023, 11, 12, 87. Those communities in the East End have not seen a first pass, and some of them have not seen a pass from post derecho as well. And so our phones are ringing, and I just want to make sure. I know solid waste is working extremely hard at the department, but we also have contractors. I know we took some time to set up some of the locations where these tree debris were going to be set up or dropped off at. And so I really want to make sure we can dig into solid waste department a bit more to ensure that we're finding efficiencies, but also, again, giving the residents realistic expectations. So there's been folks that have tree debris for over a month and a half, going on 2 months.
Very good. Councilman Pollard.
Thank you, Mayor. A few months ago, I shared some stats regarding prostitution-related offenses in District J, primarily on Bissonnette between US 59 and Beltway 8. As we know, that's been a very challenging area over the past several decades when it comes to prostitution-related offenses and crime. And so my office, in conjunction with HPD Westside, Commissioner Briones, our management districts, and community partners have really put a strong emphasis on making that a high priority area for us to alleviate those types of behaviors and crimes that have occurred for years. One of the things that we did that has been most effective has been closing off some of the side streets where individuals would go down those streets to either do sex buys or drug sales. And so a few months ago, I gave you the first quarter stats. Just got the 6-month stats from HPD. When it comes to human trafficking, in District J, it's down 71% from 14 offenses to 4. Prostitution crimes down 80% from 146 to 30, and purchasing prostitution is down 98%, 178 to 4. So if you go down Bissonnette now, it's a completely transformed street. And I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who's involved that has made that happen. That has been one of the most dangerous and internationally known streets. And we want to do all that we can to shape that reputation in the right direction. And so I'll continue to be able to bring forward these stats. Mayor, I want to thank your administration for continuing to work with my office on providing resources to that stretch. At first, it started with the One Safe Houston program under Mayor Turner, and now under your administration, continuing to make Bissonnette a priority is something that has been transformative for District J. So these stats speak for themselves, but your eyes will also see it if you ride down that stretch as well. I want to give a huge shout out to my office, specifically Kennedy and David, for their work on the free diaper distribution we had in District J this past weekend. We were at the India House where we provided thousands of diapers to families in need. Thank you to HEB, Kroger, Connect Community, the Texas Diaper Bank, and Union Pacific. We did pass out some of those cards, Mayor Pro Tem, to families in need as well. And we'll continue to have these diaper distributions because they've always been a huge success for us. And lastly, our Good Neighbor program has kicked off in District J, where we use our council district service funds to do minor exterior home repairs for either seniors, disabled, or veterans. And so when we identify a home within District J that needs some help, or one of the HOAs or civic clubs reaches out to us, we go and we do those exterior home repairs for those individuals. We've done 2 homes thus far. For those in District J who are interested in that program, you can reach out to our office at districtj@houstontx.gov. And we look forward to continuing to really highlight that program because we think we can get a lot of bang for our buck on that. And to everyone, have a great rest of your week. God bless you.
Thank you. Councilman Carter.
Thank you. Just want to highlight that we'll be at the Acres Homes Community Center this Friday at 8 a.m. with our Unity in the Community. HPD will be there to talk about personal safety. Additionally, encourage everyone to sign up to volunteer with the Parks Department on their next Parks Cleanup on September 28th. A couple of weeks ago, they hosted one, and we were in B and cleaning up a park. It was actually quite fun to see the before and after, so encourage everyone to share that in their district, but also to participate. Have a great day.
Councilman Evans Shabazz.
Thank you, Mayor. This week, we gathered at the CUNY Homes for a special mural dedication as part of the End the Exception Houston campaign. For those of you that may not be familiar, the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution still includes an exception clause that allows the government to force people who have been convicted of a crime to perform labor. It's the difference in slavery and incarceration, legal incarceration. The exception states that neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall exist in the United States except as punishment for a crime. This mural is beautiful. It is designed by the talented Armando Castellan and painted by Black Cassidy. It features CUNY Home residents Edric Earl Rhodes II, a student at the Jack Yates High School. It is a powerful symbol of our community's ongoing struggle against the exception clause in the 13th Amendment. I encourage everyone to just Google 13th Amendment exception to get more of an idea of this history. This artwork not only beautifies our space, but also serves as a poignant reminder of the work that still needs to be done in the fight for justice and equality. And I extend my heartfelt thanks to everyone involved in this project for their hard work and dedication. I also want to give my condolences to Andrea Rodriguez Abilla's family. Certainly Rice University is in District C. But, I do have a lot of universities in the District of Destination. And just want to let people know that there is support and resources. If you're in a toxic relationship, please go out and seek help and resources. There is a way to navigate out of those terrible situations. People's emotions run high, and then in this instance, it was a murder-suicide, and it has certainly happened on other campuses, and certainly outside of the academic world. And so certainly we want people to stay safe and learn how to navigate into safer relationships. And I want to caution everyone to just be safe. You know, there's so much going on, and, you know, around the universities you have new students, people who are not acclimated to the environment and the community. We want them to stay safe, stay in groups. Don't just think that you're free now and you can just walk around. Your parents aren't there. But there is danger that is lurking, and so just want them to be cautious. And also to get information about what's going on in the District of Destination, please sign up for the newsletter at District D at HoustonTX.gov. Everyone have a wonderful break next week, if you ever get one. Actually, nobody ever really gets a real break from this. This is the 25/8 job, which I'm just explaining. I'm not complaining, and I'm very honored to serve in that capacity. Thank you.
Councilman Castillo.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to remind District H residents, tonight we have our second Disaster Preparedness Recovery Workshop at HTX Art in the Heart on Jensen Drive, 6:30 p.m. We will have representatives from FEMA and the Small Business Administration there to assist folks with their recovery and help them prepare for any future disasters. I also wanted to thank Director Nichols. I recently had a meeting with him discussing some issues we're having with homelessness at our city parks, you know, specifically Moody and recently Monty Beach. And so we're utilizing all the tools that are available to us, my District H Patrol program. We're going to be meeting with park rangers and the Parks Department to see how they can help. And I understand he's working on an initiative around homelessness that's coming together. And so I look forward to seeing what comes from that, because we need more help. We've had families harassed. We've had children harassed at our parks, open flames on our basketball courts, and we just got to do better than that. And I look forward to continuing to work with him to address a quality of life and a safety issue. Thank you.
You're welcome. Councilman Davis.
Thank you, Mayor, everyone. We are certainly grateful to all of those who help us in support of our town hall. We have our third one that's coming up in the month of October. We try to plan as early as possible, and I certainly was greeted wonderfully in A-Leaf in that area we just chose. That area, we'll be moving south to the, we will be at the Life Center, the Fountain Life Center in District K, which we hope to include all of the districts around. We're just trying to help and support our districts, our council members from the at-large town hall meetings, and we've been pretty good and successful in getting as many people out as we can. I'd like to make an appeal, Mayor, and suggestion. I will be with Council Member Mayor Pro Tem Tatum in her Meet the Chief. I've also had a meeting that I've requested with Chief Diaz. As you know, crime has been my biggest concern as a native-born Houstonian, and I never liked it over the past 10, 15, 20 years, but mostly now. And I want to commend you in terms of the selection that you've chose to be the top cop, police chief of our city. But I would like to make an appeal that we hear from our chief and or one of his assistants at least once a month on where the crime places are, giving every district council person. I made this suggestion that I think when we hear from the controller, we hear from the director of finance, we ought to hear from our police chief. In terms of that way every district council person has an idea what's going on in his or her district as relates to crime. And that way we can get a up-close and personal view of what's happening so that we can respect our police department. Last point, as I had talked with your administration office before about a plan called PPP, which I'm speaking of that in terms of police, pastors, and people. We have to bridge those things together if we want to see our city get in a better direction as relates to crime. There has to be a collaboration of our community to help reduce crime in our city. Thank you.
Well said, and we all know crime does not recognize boundary lines. In fact, we applaud Councilman Pollard for doing such a fine job on this and that. But I would suggest most of those actors have probably moved to other districts. So it needs to be a citywide effort. About the time the pressure came on Bissonnette, we noticed on the north side, 45 and Airline, Councilmember Jackson, and I guess that's going to be Martinez's area. It certainly increased. So we applaud addressing these hot spots, but quite frankly, it's a citywide issue that we need to collaborate on, and it's an excellent idea to get a report from the chief or certainly his representative.
Yeah, I mean,
and I applaud the Mayor Pro Tem being so proactive now, having the chief in her district tomorrow evening. That's just how we're going to solve this problem, is making it all of our problems.
Yes, and I was there when Councilman Pollard kicks off his annual crime march in his community. I was there with him, and I think it's he's done a tremendously good job in attacking it. But as you say, it's a citywide issue. And I think all of our areas, because criminals, they always try to find different spots to do whatever they can't do in one area, they move to another one, So
Your idea about the pastors being involved, any stakeholders, our pastors, other concerned individuals that could assist us in helping these traffic victims.
Yes.
Most of the prostitutes would be traffic victims. Help them get away from their pimp and other people that are preying upon them. And certainly the users, the customers.
Yeah, and just the last point, and I'll be done, but that's why we put together the Minister Advisory Board. I put that together. You will be hearing from us about that.
Sure.
It's a collaboration of all pastors, of all faiths, of all ethnicities, and I'm excited about that. And City Council will be hearing from all of them.
Sound good, and certainly diversified or broaden it to include all of our faiths.
Absolutely. Rabbis. It doesn't matter.
You're on to something.
Thank you.
Councilman Flickens.
If y'all need some help with me running the whole city, just let me know. I got
Sir?
you. If you need me help for the rest of the city outside of District J, just let me know.
We know if you're interested. Good. All I can say is good luck. Councilman Flickens.
Thank you, Mayor. Sloan Sweeney recently joined our team as the South Sector Manager down in the Clear Lake area, and she actually came from the chamber down there. It's her birthday today, so I wanted to wish her a happy birthday. Also, last Saturday, the Greater Houston Port Bureau Annual Maritime held their dinner, and I was able to attend that. They honored Jürgen Schroeder, who apparently had been out there forever and they thought to a large extent was responsible for the success of the port. Really wanted to try and call some attention to the Pilots Association. They have got some fantastic blue-collar jobs out there. People getting out of high school, some of the high schools have programs for the maritime. San Jacinto College has a program for the maritime. After a 2-year certification at San Jacinto College, they're able to make $60,000 a year. A couple of years after that, they're able to get into 6 figures. There is some really great things going on at the port. The port adds a huge amount of economic development out to the city of Houston, and really think we need to get behind that. Thank you very much.
Good. Councilman Kamen.
Thank you, Mayor. First, thank you all for the support, not just on the NLC recommendations for both myself and Mayor Pro Tem Casix Tatum as we continue to work with NLC, and the work has been extraordinarily valuable, both for our city and at the state and national level. But thank you for the support on the improvements to the Green Stormwater Infrastructure Tax Abatement Program. I really want to thank the Economic Development Department and Director Tillotson and her team for really listening and coming up with those improvements that I think will provide more access and incentives for greener building. Councilmember Evans Shabazz, thank you for the kind words. Our thoughts continue to be with the family of Andrea Rodriguez Avila. The Rice community, the Rice family is hurting right now. And we know that in a domestic violence situation, firearm introduced makes it 5 times more lethal. So we appreciate everyone's support. I have been in communication with Rice University throughout, but an absolute tragedy that is far too common. You're right. It's not just an isolated incident. It happens. I do want to provide a few thank yous. Yesterday, we had a very special ribbon cutting at our Office of Emergency Management. Mayor, I'm sorry you couldn't be there, but Councilmember Peck, thank you for joining us. So did Chief Diaz, Chief Munoz, Chief Satterwhite. The list goes on to really lift up the work that our 911 call takers do day in and day out. They are so short-staffed. Obviously, during emergencies, they work over 12-hour shifts. Oftentimes, they have nowhere to sleep. They don't even have break rooms, and I'll get to that in a second. But even now, because of the staff shortages, they are working a 12-hour shift, each and every one of them taking some of the hardest calls that any of us can ever imagine. My office funded 2 break rooms. One is a quiet room, one is a repose room, to support them in their work. And that we worked with Hope, and actual 911 call takers got to say what they wanted these rooms to look like. So they got to pick what they wanted in the rooms. We funded it. We worked with GSD, but those are officially opened, and we really appreciate everyone's support with that, including from Hope, Sonia, Joseph, Kim Lott, who's a 911 operator and led the charge, Director Roderick Jackson, our new director at HEC, was very supportive. Director Messiah Mayer was instrumental in this, and his team was fully on board and made this possible. Of course, the staff at OEM and other city leaders. So thank you to everyone. It was, especially as we get to Labor Day, a really special thing to lift up the important work of our 911 call takers. We appreciate them. We have a public meeting. This is a Montrose Community Stakeholder meeting on Thursday, August 29th at 5:30 p.m. with Public Works. It will be a virtual community meeting on the Gray and Taft project. We're expecting new concrete paving with improved storm drainage, curbs, sidewalk, street lighting, underground utilities. So Thursday's meeting will share the design and plans for that. So we encourage residents to join us as we move forward on that project and appreciate Public Works partnership. Lastly, Mayor, I'm extremely concerned with the news that the state, Governor Abbott, has purged over 1 million voters from voting rolls. It's blatant intimidation. We saw this happen in 2019 when the state tried to purge 95,000 residents, alleging that they were non-citizens. Overwhelmingly, they were. We're seeing this once again in the midst of the targeting of our abuelitas, LULAC members whose doors were knocked down because they are volunteers registering people to vote. So my question, I know that some of our partners at the state level, our state representatives, are going to be having a press conference tomorrow morning on the steps of City Hall. I encourage the public to tune in. I encourage the public and residents to check their voter registration status to make sure that they were not impacted. But Mayor, I would like to know, as a city, what we are doing to educate residents, to make sure that we are doing everything we can so that they are able to exercise their constitutional right, their right at the ballot box, in light of the latest intimidation efforts.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else? Well, obviously, it's pretty obvious we all have responsibilities, and we just accomplished something by bringing it to everybody's attention. The press covered it, and we all stand very much in opposition of intimidating people. and elections matter. You know, if people pursue that initiative, they'll be on the ballot, and that's about the strongest thing we can do, is encourage people to register, vote, and hold people accountable. And we should do it every day. So thank you. Everybody enjoy Labor Day. I stand adjourned.
This project that may not qualify. Right. So I wanted to ask, do you think something like some sort of an artistic mural on a crosswalk, would that qualify?
If Public Works approved.
Okay, gotcha.
So the Public Works approval will be needed for that project to continue, because you would definitely need Public Works approval for that, because that would require the street closing for a while.
Okay.
And so, yes. So,
Alicia.
Yes, hi. Elisa Shealy, Super Neighborhood 47. Question, when our super neighborhood is not designated 501c3 or 4, is this when we partner with a nonprofit sponsor? And if so, yes. Do we have guidelines that that nonprofit sponsor should meet? Is there like a vetting form or?
No, the nonprofit would just have to turn in their 12-month budget within your application.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Tamara, did you had your hand up at one point, and then I saw it went down.
It was too many people with their hands up. I just wanted us to move on.
Okay, well, if you have a question, now's your chance.
Come on, ask your question.
That's okay. That's okay. Let's go. I'm sleepy.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sims. We appreciate it very much.
Oh, no problem.
And I will send out the presentation when it gets sent. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And you can go home now if you want. We always want to let y'all have the opportunity to be able to leave if you need to. And so we're going to now move into the approval of the minutes. The February, March, April, and May minutes had been sent out for approval. We do have a quorum. We verified that we do have a quorum at this meeting. So we would entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Oh, I did send out minor corrections to the May minutes. I apologize for the misspelling of a name, and we got that corrected. And then we added a couple of titles to people's names.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Do I hear?
Second that.
I have
comment, please. I have my hand raised.
Okay, and now I'm getting ready to go to the comments, and yes, you have a comment, and so does Doug. So either.
Doug, you want to go first or me?
Yeah, I'll just make a comment. The Office of Secretary is the most difficult one in this organization because it is so difficult to do these minutes. And I would like to make a suggestion that unless the minutes that are presented materially misstate what happened at the meeting, we accept them and not worry overly about some minor things that might be wrong, because we've got 5 months or 4 months worth of minutes to approve here. And I really think that Amy does a great job, and there's nothing that she has eliminated that would misstate what happened. And I would just like to have us move forward more expeditiously in the future.
Okay, Greg, you were next, and then tomorrow.
Yes. I mean, each month I provide comments to the new minutes on the agenda, but no one has replied to any of my requests to go over them. So at least we could come to an understanding and agreement offline. That would have expedited this process. I mean, as recently as Friday, I emailed, hey, what do you plan on discussing? When do you plan on discussing with me my comments to the February, March, April, and now May minutes? At this point, I only see two choices. Either we go over a comment for discussion, but I don't like, as Doug's saying also, I don't like wasting everybody's time, as that would be very inefficient. Or let's table the minutes until we have that offline discussion.
Okay. Tomorrow, you were next with your hand up.
Yes, as a former chairman of the Super Neighborhood Alliance, back in the day when we would do them, Doug, that's how we would do them. Because we understood the onerous task of doing them, and so when Jane was secretary, we didn't go over the minutiae as long as the idea, the statement, or whatever it is that was presented at the meeting was factually included in the minutes, because a lot of people do the minutes shorthand and they don't even, say, and then so-and-so said this or so-and-so said this, to Robert's rule, it doesn't have to be the exact words that was said, but it has to be the premise and narrated. And so, Doug, I agree with you, and it's wonderful to see our lovely council member, Sally Alcorn, joined us. Okay, that's it.
Sandra, we have somebody in the waiting room, I think. So we do have a motion on the table open. So is there any further discussion on the motion?
Well, yes, there is, because I don't see why nobody wants to talk to me about the minutes. I'm trying to help out on the minutes here. And
we did incorporate some of your suggestions on the May meeting minutes, and
yes, and I appreciate that. Some, in fact, probably 90% of the comments that were made in there were because of my comments. But there's a number of them that nobody is ever willing to discuss with me. So why do I keep on doing it? Doug, it may be minutia, but we can iron it out. I'm willing to work with anybody to do that. I want to be helpful for it, and I want them to look right. I don't want Sally Alcorn's name to be misspelled like it is still. That's an example. So why can't we just table them? I mean, all I'm asking is just somebody meet with me, discuss them. Nobody wants to do it. Do you talk to other people about minutes when they have comments? Because with me, you will not.
Can we call for the vote, please?
No, you cannot call for the vote here because
you've had your comments.
Doug, I'm sorry. This is Robert's rules ask for, are there any corrections to the minutes? Yes, there are corrections. That's what Robert's rule says for. So we can either do one of two things. We can go through each one, or we can table the motion. That's the way Robert's rules works in this situation, Doug.
That's not how we do it.
Tomorrow, you may say that's not how we do it, but I'm saying that's how it's done.
Okay.
Okay?
No, it's not okay.
Well, Doug, because
can we call for the vote, please? You're the only one that has a problem.
I'm calling for a vote.
You cannot call for a vote. Do you understand that?
Well, she is.
No, because it's not calling for the vote. It says, are there any corrections? That's the way that Robert's rules does it, and you go through all the corrections. That's the way it works. And I don't see why. And everybody wants to go ahead and continue the stonewalling against me for trying to help out here Why don't you
Yes.
ever, Doug, don't you think it's just basic common sense and courtesy to talk with people about the comments they're making to try to help out things? Spellings, for example. I just gave an example.
No.
One example. I can go through a number, and I've asked each and every month to do that. So I can't believe that you're actually proffering that particular argument, like, let's go on and just ignore everything, even though they're wrong. When I'm willing to do this, and I don't know why anybody else is not willing to do this. And look how much time we've already wasted on this. And we shouldn't have.
Okay, your time is up. You had 2 minutes. Your time is up.
Doug, this is not timing. You don't understand.
Yes, it is.
No, Doug, you do not understand. You're not the parliamentarian here. You don't understand how a parliamentarian works.
I'm the timer.
You're the timer, but timer is for the comment section later. It's not for the minutes. Okay?
Girl, you're the president.
I'm calling for the vote. And we can, if there's something legally wrong with that, I'm sure that the legal department or somebody in the Department of Neighborhoods will let me know.
Let us know.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
First of all, I want to make one other comment. If you have not read every minute, you have a fiduciary duty of care to review these. If you've not reviewed them, I'm not your attorney, but I would suggest that you don't vote in favor of them, that you abstain.
Okay. Everybody raise your hand if you're in favor of the minute, of the motion, I should say.
And the motion is to accept the minutes. Reread the motion to them,
Yes.
Cheryl.
The motion's on the table to accept the minutes of February, March, April, and May as revised and that were sent out.
Okay. And make sure that, let them know 1 vote per super neighborhood.
Yeah, and Amy is got the list of who's eligible to vote.
Very good, very good. And if we have to go through the names, make sure everybody vote.
Well, it looks like everybody, if you look at the list, everybody has raised their hand.
Okay,
Most
good.
Everybody.
That's not true, Doug. Please.
I said a majority, most everyone, a majority has raised their hand.
So my hand was up. Did y'all take it down?
It's still up.
Okay.
You're number 18.
Okie dokie.
Okay. Okay. Did you get the vote, Amy?
Amy, can you hear us?
Yes, I got the vote. Yes, we had 20 approvals.
So everybody can now lower their hands. So.
Okay. And those opposed, raise your hand. Lower one. So we have 4 opposed.
Oh, I'm not actually opposed. I just can't figure out how to get my hand lowered.
Your hand up at the top by where it says chat and then people and raise.
And I keep hitting on lower your hand and it doesn't lower. So I'm not sure what's going on here.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, there it goes. Finally.
Okay, so we're now going to move on to the proposed new bylaws, and I'm turning the meeting at this point over to Keith Downey.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Cheryl, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. So I want to first of all thank everyone who is on the bylaws committee, and that is Rick and Candenas, Cindy Chapman, Amy Den, Jackie Mayhorn, Cheryl O'Brien, Naomi Osfield, and Mr. Rainwater and myself. Greg, we did receive the email from you. I acknowledge that with your comments that you sent over the weekend. And how we're going to do this, we're going to do it article by article. The committee met on the following dates: January 13th, January 20th, February 10th, and April 25th. And we're going to do it article by article. Now, these revisions were presented to the body April and May. In May meeting, we met in person. So I'm going to go through each article and then we take a vote after each article is read. There were no changes in Article 1. I'm trying to come up to the mic. Article 2, Section 3, mission statement. We capitalized mayor and we fixed a punctuation. Article 3, definitions. The definitions are now listed alphabetically. The revised definitions. An active super neighborhood shall refer to any super neighborhood council whose representative or representatives have attended an alliance meeting within the previous four meetings. Okay. 4 meetings, and the city has verified meetings and meets the city's recognition guidelines. The city will provide a list of super neighborhood councils who conform to the city's recognition guidelines at the beginning of the city's fiscal year. The city may update the list of verified super neighborhood councils throughout the year. Quorum shall refer to 1/3 of the duly designated alliance members. A representative, as defined by Chapter 2-621, formerly Chapter 33-301 of the Code of Ordinances, Houston, Texas, a representative shall refer to a super neighborhood council's president, chair, or other appointee assigned to serve on the alliance. A super neighborhood council should designate 1 representative and an alternate. Each super neighborhood council is responsible for notifying the alliance leadership at the following email, snacoh@gmail.com, of the name of the representative and alternate. Those individuals may be any member of the super neighborhood council designated. Definitions are the following. Alliance means the Houston Super Neighborhood Alliance, a Texas unincorporated nonprofit association. City shall refer to the city of Houston. City's recognition guidelines shall refer to the guidelines published in the 2024 City Super Neighborhood Program Handbook as amended. Chair means the duly elected chair of the alliance. Code means the city's code of ordinances as amended. Mayor means the mayor of the city. Secretary means the duly elected secretary of the alliance. Super Neighborhood Initiative means the program created by Article 8 of Chapter 33 of the Code. Treasurer means the duly elected treasurer of the alliance. Vice chair means the duly elected vice chair of the alliance. If it was not previously defined, these defined terms were capitalized throughout the bylaws. To save time, we will not go through each instance of change to capitalization in the proposed amendments. This is the end of the amendments for Article 3. Do I hear any motion?
I make a motion that we accept Article 3 as read.
And I've had my hand up for a while.
And I will second that motion.
I have a point of information first.
Greg does have his hand up, so let him.
I'm looking down, reading.
So the plan tonight is that the bylaws that were sent on May 20th, we're just going to vote on them tonight for the first time?
This is the first reading. There are 2 readings.
Were the bylaws that were sent out on May 20th delivered 30 days in advance of this meeting to the chair? Simple yes or no?
Could you repeat that, please?
Sure. Were the bylaws that were sent out on May 20th delivered 30 days in advance of this meeting to the chair?
Yes.
No, they weren't. They couldn't have been because these have been revised since our last meeting.
No, they haven't.
Amy and Keith, I'm sorry. Y'all are handling this.
Yeah. I thought they were sent out, Greg. I believe they were.
No, they couldn't have because you've changed them after our last meeting. So that's been more than 30. That was less than 30 days that they were sent to the chair. The bylaws say you have to send them out 30 days prior to the next scheduled meeting. You just can't, you don't have to dismiss it out of hand and say, no, you can't do that, or you don't have to worry about that.
They were noted and sent out with the changes that we received at the last meeting.
That is not the question. It's a yes or no. Were they sent out to the chair 30 days in advance of this meeting? The answer is no. Therefore, they do not meet the requirements to be discussed and voted on tonight.
I disagree.
We sent it on May 20th. We sent.
Oh, I'm focusing on the first part. Let's focus on the first part. The amendment requirement is you send them not at least 30 days in advance. Those bylaws changes to the chair. That was not done. Therefore, they cannot be discussed and voted on. They can be discussed, but they can't be voted on tonight.
Greg, you're just wrong. Article 10 says 20 days prior to the scheduled meeting.
Read the first paragraph, Amy.
We have already sent that. We have proposed the amendment. The amendments have been sent out multiple times, and a final copy has been sent 20 days before the meeting as required.
We'll talk about that again, but that is not true. These bylaws, the changes that we're discussing tonight, were not sent to the chair 30 days in advance because they weren't even discussed and changed until after our last meeting, which makes it less than 30 days. You understand?
The proposed changes, and these were incorporated based on discussion in the last meeting to incorporate additional revisions that were received from people like you so that we could make sure everybody's input was included. And then it was resent out per the bylaws 20 days in advance.
Well, first of all, it wasn't 20 days in advance. We'll get to that. But focus on the first part of the amendment. The amendment says you have to send the bylaws as you want to talk about them and have a vote 30 days in advance to the chair. That was not done. End of story.
I disagree.
Well, how do you disagree?
Okay, Vicki has a comment. Vicki's been trying to say something. Let Vicki comment.
I'm sorry, this is a little off touch, but Jackie Mahorn has been texting me that she's still in the waiting room.
I've asked Sandra to let her in. I think there's some problem. They've been trying. So.
Okay, yeah. I'll text her. They're trying. Thank you.
Okay. Hello?
Yes, we hear you.
Let me put my hand up so I won't be out of order. Hold on, y'all. I don't want y'all to say I'm out of order. I'm on the phone with Jane Cahill West, who's another former chair. And Amy, you're right, the 20 days, and we can't spend all night going on this. If you all want to go, let me put it this way. I want to rescind my motion that I made to vote on it. If you all are going to get tarried up on this, I'll rescind that motion, and I'll make a motion that we go with the 20 days that Amy's saying, and we can all vote on that as a group right now, so we can move on.
We have a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the 20 days that Amy is recording in the bylaws, and let's just vote on it and move on. I'm not kidding. You can't let somebody.
You guys, you are conflating. Jane, you're talking to Jane about something different. You are conflating something. The first part of it is a 30-day requirement. 30-day requirement, and that was not met. Any questions? I mean, it's very clear.
Amy, I agree with you.
Well, I know you
should just do it.
Tomorrow, it's not an agreement. It's illegal unless you're an attorney and practicing law in this area. It's not.
Baby, this is not a corporation. You keep talking about your corporate law. We are an unincorporated volunteer organization.
I know.
So that's not Amy as our secretary and as a lawyer and Keith Downey. I'm making a motion that members who are present tonight to vote, let's go with the 20 days that Amy is saying. I'd like to make a motion. Can we do that and go beyond our bylaws to move this motion forward? Anybody give me a second?